As we age, our relationships evolve, shaped by years of experience and wisdom. While our bodies may slow down, our understanding of others deepens, teaching us valuable lessons about trust, boundaries, and the true intentions of those around us. In this video, we'll explore how to navigate relationships in our later years, with a focus on recognizing those who genuinely care for our well-being and those who may seek to exploit our vulnerabilities. It's not about fostering cynicism, but about cultivating meaningful connections that protect our peace and honor our worth. Join us as we dive into the art of discerning authentic relationships. The dangers of loneliness. A vulnerability that can be exploited. As we grow older, loneliness can become an unwelcome companion. The passing of time brings with it many losses: the death of friends, the estrangement of family members, and the physical limitations that make it harder to connect with others. Loneliness can intensify these feelings, leaving us yearning for companionship, for someone who truly understands us. It is precisely at these vulnerable moments that those with ill intentions can enter our lives, offering the comfort of companionship while secretly seeking to exploit our vulnerabilities. This emotional need for connection can be particularly acute in the elderly. The desire for someone to share stories with, to provide care and companionship, and to simply spend time with us can cloud our judgment. We may become more willing to forgive minor inconveniences or red flags because we crave human interaction. However, this emotional need can be manipulated by individuals who see an opportunity to gain something from us, whether it's our time, our money, or our influence. It's important to recognize that not all forms of loneliness are inherently bad. There's a difference between being alone and feeling lonely, and sometimes solitude can be restorative. But when loneliness drives us to open ourselves up to unhealthy relationships, we must pause and ask, who is benefiting from this relationship? Are we truly being valued for who we are? Or are we merely serving as a means to someone else's end? Signs of manipulation. How to recognize and protect yourself. Recognizing when someone is trying to manipulate or take advantage of us is not always straightforward. People who prey on vulnerable seniors can be incredibly subtle in their tactics. They may not immediately appear to have bad intentions. They might even present themselves as caring and considerate. However, over time, certain behaviors start to emerge that should raise red flags. These can include conditional friendship. A person who only reaches out to you when they need something is not truly invested in your well-being. They may show interest in your life, but only when they can use your vulnerability to their advantage. Perhaps they appear only when you're facing difficult times, offering sympathy or companionship when you're feeling isolated, and then vanish when you start to feel better or more secure. This kind of friendship is not reciprocal. It's about what they can get from you, not about genuine care for your needs. Emotional manipulation. Some individuals are skilled at manipulating your emotions, making you feel guilty or indebted to them. For example, they might tell you that they are struggling and in need of help, pressuring you to give financially or emotionally, or even forcing you to compromise your own well-being for their sake. These manipulative tactics are often masked as good intentions, making it difficult to say no without feeling like a bad person. Overbearing influence. Another sign of manipulation is when someone gradually gains control over your decisions, subtly influencing how you think, act, or even feel. Whether it's deciding who you spend time with, what you should buy, or how you should manage your health. A manipulative person will often take over these areas, disregarding your autonomy. It's a slow process, one that happens little by little, but before you know it, your life is no longer your own. In some cases, this manipulation may be less overt and more about making you feel like you owe them something. This dynamic often arises in family relationships, where a relative might exploit your sense of duty or love, pressuring you to keep giving more than you receive in return. The importance of setting boundaries. Protecting your peace and dignity. Setting boundaries becomes increasingly essential as we age. The importance of maintaining our autonomy, dignity, and mental well-being cannot be overstated. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are markers of self-respect that protect what is sacred to us: our time, our resources, our energy, and our emotions. By setting clear boundaries, we create a safe space where we can nourish the relationships that truly matter while protecting ourselves from those who might take advantage. Boundaries are also crucial when it comes to family members, who may feel entitled to our time, attention, or resources simply because of the relationship we share. It's easy to feel guilty about saying no to a loved one, especially when they present themselves as needing help. But the reality is that consistently prioritizing others' needs over our own can lead to burnout, resentment, and even a loss of personal identity. We must recognize that our time and energy are finite resources, and it's okay to say no to requests that are unreasonable or that put our own well-being at risk. Learning to set boundaries is a skill that requires practice and confidence. It's not about shutting people out. It's about fostering relationships that are based on mutual respect and care. Those who truly care for us will understand and appreciate our boundaries, while those who don't may reveal their true colors. And that's an important lesson in itself. Cultivating healthy relationships. The value of true companionship. In our later years, the relationships that matter most are the ones that nourish us, that encourage our growth and provide us with comfort, joy, and support. While it's tempting to hold on to people who have been in our lives for a long time, we must assess whether these relationships are truly adding value to our lives. Are we being valued for who we are, or are we simply serving as a means to someone else's end? It's time to reevaluate, to let go of relationships that no longer serve us, and to invest in those that enrich our lives. The truth is that we don't need a multitude of friends or acquaintances to feel fulfilled. As we age, the quality of our relationships becomes far more important than the quantity. True friends are those who stand by us in our times of need, who uplift us when we're down, and who respect our boundaries. They are not just present when they need something, but consistently show up in our lives with love, support, and genuine care. True friendships are characterized by trust, empathy, and reciprocity. They don't drain us, they empower us. They help us grow, heal, and experience the fullness of life. And if we are lucky, these friendships can withstand the test of time, growing deeper and more meaningful with each passing year. Embracing the wisdom of age. Living authentically. As we enter our golden years, it's important to embrace the wisdom that comes with age. We've lived through challenges, losses, and triumphs, and we've learned many valuable lessons along the way. One of the most profound lessons is that we don't need to prove anything to anyone. We've already given so much of ourselves to others, and now is the time to reclaim that energy for ourselves. Aging gives us the gift of perspective. We begin to understand that life is not about pleasing others, meeting their expectations, or sacrificing our happiness for their gain. It's about living authentically, making choices that align with our values, and cherishing the moments that truly matter. This is the stage of life where we can let go of past regrets and embrace the present with open arms. The relationships that bring us joy are those that are based on mutual respect, understanding, and genuine love. We can afford to be selective about the people we invite into our lives, focusing on those who truly value us for who we are, not for what we can do for them. The complexity of family loyalty. For many of us, family is an anchor. It represents an unshakable bond, a foundation from which we draw strength, identity, and comfort. From an early age, we are taught that family is everything, that it is the one relationship that should never be severed, no matter how strained it may become. Society often feeds us this narrative, reminding us that the love we share with family members should be unconditional, enduring, and forgiving. The message is clear. No matter how difficult or painful the relationship, we must stick it out, because that's what family does. But as we journey through life, we come to realize that not all family relationships are healthy or supportive. Family can be a source of love and comfort, but it can also become a source of deep pain, manipulation, and emotional turmoil. The people who are supposed to have our backs, the ones who should offer love and understanding in our time of need, are sometimes the very ones who wound us the most. Toxic behavior within families is not uncommon, and as we age, it becomes essential to recognize these dynamics and make difficult choices about who we allow to remain in our lives. It's a painful paradox. We feel an innate sense of obligation to uphold the family bond, but this sense of duty can often come at the expense of our own happiness and mental health. This dilemma is especially pronounced as we grow older and become more aware of the precious nature of time. We may find ourselves tolerating behavior that we wouldn't have accepted in younger years, all because of the deep-seated belief that family loyalty is paramount. How often have we endured hurtful words, emotional manipulation, or outright disrespect because we felt it was our duty to stay connected? The guilt that accompanies this decision is often overwhelming, leaving us wondering if we are somehow failing in our responsibility to love and forgive. The impact of toxic family relationships. Let's take a moment to reflect on some of the dynamics that often occur in toxic family relationships. It could be a sibling who constantly undermines you, belittling your achievements or dismissing your feelings as trivial. Perhaps it's a parent who, despite years of support, continually criticizes your life choices, offering little encouragement or acknowledgement. Maybe it's a child who only reaches out when they need something, money, a place to stay, or an emotional crutch, yet never reciprocates when you need help. Or it could be a spouse who, after years of partnership, has stopped treating you with kindness and respect, taking you for granted while you endure their indifference or even cruelty. These scenarios are not rare, and they are incredibly painful. When the people closest to us, those who should care for us unconditionally, turn out to be sources of emotional harm, it can feel like a betrayal. And yet, society continues to tell us that blood is thicker than water, that we should overlook these offenses for the sake of family unity. It's a message that is ingrained in us from a young age and reinforced through cultural expectations and societal norms. However, the brutal truth is that family should not come at the expense of your well-being. Unconditional love does not mean accepting behavior that damages your spirit or emotional health. It is important to recognize that while you may feel deeply connected to your family, their harmful actions do not have to define the relationship. The guilt of letting go. The idea of distancing ourselves from family members, especially those who have been part of our lives for decades, can be incredibly difficult to grasp. The guilt that accompanies such a decision can be paralyzing, especially when we are taught that family loyalty is sacred. We may ask ourselves, am I being selfish by setting boundaries? Am I betraying them by pulling away? These questions often plague us when we start to consider letting go of toxic family members. We are conditioned to believe that no matter how much pain they cause, we should endure it out of duty, love, and a sense of responsibility. But as we age, it becomes more and more apparent that time is finite. We no longer have the luxury of pretending that things will change or that there's always time for healing. The reality is that we don't have endless years ahead of us to make up for the emotional toll that toxic relationships can exact. Every day that we choose to tolerate disrespect or emotional manipulation is a day that we lose to someone else's disregard for our peace and well-being. The choice to distance ourselves from family members, even those who have been a central part of our lives, is not one made out of malice, but out of a recognition that our mental and emotional health must take precedence. It's a decision that is both painful and empowering, and it's one that ultimately frees us from the burden of carrying others' emotional baggage. Letting go is not an act of hatred. It is an act of self-love. The importance of boundaries for self-preservation. As we enter the later stages of life, we become more attuned to the importance of our emotional and mental health. Setting boundaries becomes not just a way to protect ourselves from negativity, but an essential tool for reclaiming our peace. Boundaries allow us to take control of who we let into our emotional space and how we engage with the people around us. These boundaries are not walls that separate us from the world. They are markers of self-respect, affirmations of our right to be treated with dignity, and a commitment to our own well-being. One of the most significant things we can do for ourselves at this stage in life is to prioritize relationships that nurture us, that uplift us, and that bring us joy. Family members who respect our boundaries and offer love and understanding are precious. But those who bring only stress, guilt, and negativity have no place in our lives, especially as we grow older. The time we have left is too precious to spend it in toxic environments or with people who do not honor and appreciate us for who we truly are. By setting clear boundaries, whether that means limiting contact with certain family members, refusing to tolerate hurtful behavior, or taking a step back from those who bring negativity, we create space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. We give ourselves permission to spend time with people who see us, who value us, and who make us feel good about ourselves. Boundaries give us the freedom to choose where and with whom we invest our time and energy, ensuring that we are not drained by others' expectations or toxic behaviors. The power of freedom and self-respect. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you no longer had to endure the weight of judgment, guilt, or negativity from toxic family members. Picture a life where you are surrounded by people who uplift you, who respect your needs, and who genuinely care for your well-being. It's not just a dream. It's a possibility that you can create by setting boundaries that prioritize your happiness and peace of mind. When you release the guilt of letting go of toxic relationships, you free yourself to experience joy, serenity, and emotional fulfillment. You allow yourself the freedom to live authentically, without the burden of others' expectations or demands. And in this freedom, you create a space for the relationships that truly matter, those that are based on mutual respect, love, and kindness. The wisdom that comes with age. As we accumulate years, we also accumulate wisdom. Each chapter of our lives, whether it's childhood, adolescence, early adulthood, or middle age, teaches us something valuable. We gain a deeper understanding of who we are, what we need, and what truly matters to us. The challenges and triumphs we've experienced along the way shape our worldview in ways that younger versions of ourselves could not have possibly imagined. This wisdom is not something to be cast aside as irrelevant in our later years. Rather, it becomes a powerful tool, one that allows us to navigate change with grace, patience, and insight. We are not starting from scratch when we embark on a new journey in our later years. We are building on a foundation of knowledge, resilience, and self-awareness. When we were younger, we were often driven by external expectations, the pressure to succeed, to keep up with peers, to check off societal milestones like career advancement or starting a family. But with age comes a deeper sense of self-respect. We no longer need to chase validation or approval. We begin to make choices based on what aligns with our core values and desires, not because we feel we should or because someone else is doing it. This shift in mindset can be incredibly freeing. We can pursue the passions we once abandoned, or we can try new things that once seemed impossible. The wisdom gained over the years makes us more equipped to handle the inevitable challenges of change. We know that success is not always immediate, and failure is not the end. It's simply part of the journey. The courage to break free from complacency. There's no denying that change is hard. It's natural to feel apprehensive about stepping into the unknown, especially when we've spent years, or even decades, in a particular way of life. But think for a moment about the courage it took to navigate the transitions of earlier stages in life, the awkwardness of adolescence, the pressure of early adulthood, the responsibilities of raising children or establishing a career. Each of these phases brought its own set of challenges, yet you rose to meet them. Why should this stage of life be any less exciting? Age doesn't make us fragile or incapable of change. In fact, it can make us more resilient, more willing to embrace discomfort, and more prepared to face the unknown. The courage we had to cultivate in earlier years is still inside us, ready to be tapped into. Yes, the changes we seek may feel uncomfortable at first, but what meaningful change has ever come without a bit of discomfort? Think of the bravery it took to learn a new skill, to start a new career, to venture into a new relationship, or to make a life-altering decision. Each of those moments required you to push through fear and uncertainty. In many ways, the older version of you is even more capable of these feats because you have a clearer sense of your own strength. The power of perspective. Seeing age as a source of strength. One of the greatest advantages of age is the perspective it brings. In youth, everything can feel urgent. There's pressure to accomplish, to prove yourself, to chase every opportunity that comes your way. But as we age, we begin to see life in a broader, more holistic way. We understand that life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. We know that success doesn't need to be defined by the same standards we had in our younger years. This shift in perspective allows us to approach change with patience and wisdom. We know that growth doesn't happen overnight, and we are less likely to be deterred by setbacks or failures. Instead of focusing on what we have lost, we focus on what we have gained. The experiences, the lessons, the relationships, and the inner strength that we carry with us. These things cannot be taken away, and they are more than enough to help us reinvent our lives in any way we see fit. As we age, we also become more accepting of our own imperfections. We no longer feel the need to chase an idealized version of ourselves or live up to unrealistic standards. We begin to appreciate the uniqueness of our own journey, and we become more comfortable with who we are, flaws, mistakes, and all. This self-acceptance frees us to take risks, try new things, and make changes without the burden of judgment or fear. The door to new possibilities. It's never too late to start something new. Whether it's picking up a long-forgotten hobby, traveling to new destinations, or pursuing a passion you once abandoned, the possibilities are endless. What holds us back isn't age. It's the belief that it's too late. Imagine for a moment that you were free of that belief. What would you do with your time? What passions would you pursue? What dreams would you rekindle? The truth is, the more years we live, the more we come to understand what truly brings us joy. We become less concerned with fitting into the mold society has created for us, and more focused on creating a life that aligns with our own desires and values. For some, this might mean traveling to places they've always wanted to see. For others, it might mean learning a new instrument, picking up a paintbrush, or writing that book they've had in their heart for years. There's no limit to what you can do, no expiration date on your ability to grow and evolve. The very act of embracing change, of daring to believe that you can become someone new, is in itself a radical act of self-love and self-respect. Moving forward with purpose and passion. The true challenge of aging is not the physical changes we experience, but the mental and emotional ones. The challenge is in learning to let go of the myth that it's too late for transformation, that it's too late to pursue what truly excites us. When we release this belief, we allow ourselves to step boldly into the future, knowing that our best years are not behind us, but ahead of us. Each day is an opportunity to evolve, to learn something new, to embrace life in all its richness and complexity. The transformation you seek may not be dramatic or immediate, but it can be profound. And the beauty of it is that it is entirely in your hands. You have the power to shape your life, to change the narrative you've been telling yourself, and to pursue the things that bring you joy. So, as you move forward, remember that age is not a barrier. It is a foundation built on wisdom, experience, and the resilience to overcome whatever challenges come your way. The possibilities are endless, and the only thing holding you back is the belief that it's too late. Let go of that myth. Embrace the present, and watch as the future unfolds in ways you never imagined. Because as long as you're alive, you have the ability to grow, to change, and to discover new parts of yourself. Every moment is an opportunity for transformation, and it's never too late to begin.